right now it's there.
Yeah, so there is four total.
Right now. But some people stopped singing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just as, did anyone print out the newer one?
Yeah.
So are we good?
Let's just do that again.
Yeah. Do the last two lines again.
The last two lines?
Or right now.
Okay.
Huh?
Try to love one another right now.
Try to love one another right now. Right now. Right now. Right now.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. So let's just do Go Now in Peace as if it's a real thing, just to see if we can do it properly. All right?
Capo 2?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We're gonna leave it right where we had it, right before that. Okay. 1, 2, ready. Oh, wait, Richard. Where's my 1, 2, ready, go. So that's the only problem. We jump right in.
Okay.
1, 2, ready, go. Go now in peace. Go now in peace. May the light of God surround you everywhere. Everywhere you may go. Go now in peace. Go now in peace. May the love of God surround you everywhere. Everywhere you may go.
So the tricky thing is the transition to Go Now in Peace to getting up here, and the same thing with this little light. It's just, like be aware that toward the end of the story, we could actually start.
Okay.
Right, that's that whole thing about up and down.
And Alice
If you get up, we'll get up. How about that?
is speaking twice during the sermon-y kind of thing. And she's the last person to speak, just so you know.
Okay, Alice
But
is
she
last.
speaks twice, once at the beginning, once at the end.
Okay.
So she's the last one, and then we're kind of like, as we...
So this is going to be a real... I'm not saying it's bad.
Yeah, well, in our
So
tradition,
the first song is I Am Light. So I'm going to get my songs in order, and then I have to go to the bathroom. So that's just capo 1. Make sure we have the capos straight.
Okay.
So we're starting. All right. First thing.
Out of here.
And you can't really, I would just, have this so much.
we know you're with us.
How come what? I don't sound like that at home. What's up with that? The illusion is everyone's music is. It all. I think it's mine. It's all beautiful together, isn't it? So where's these hands? Oh, there it is. So these hands comes after. There's a lot of moving parts. That's what I'm worried about. just not smart. That's totally fine.
Wasn't there a, get a ding or something? Isn't there a,
Choose the best. I think I need a mint to dry.
Good morning. Welcome. Well, I'll start by saying that for those of you who may want them, there are listening devices as well as large print hymnals now available at the rear of the sanctuary, and an usher can help you with that if you'd like. I'm glad to see everyone braving the extra last punch of cold and snow as we gather this morning. And some of us cuddled hopefully warm and in community over the internet, along with those of us here in the sanctuary in the Dequina, now known as Portsmouth, on the unceded ancestral lands of the Abenaki people. Whether you come filled with joy, sadness, a sense of community, or any other particular desires in your heart, regardless of your religious background or your absence of one, whomever you love and whatever you brought here today, you are welcome. And I hope that you find a sense of belonging here in this, our covenantal community. Today's service will be a special one, being offered by our shared ministry team, and I look forward to the many voices they'll share with us. And my name is Willow Young. I am one of a team of worship associates who have the honor and privilege of working with our minister, Reverend Ellen Quaadgras, our director of Lifespan Ministries, Kirsten Hunter, and the rest of our wonderful staff, some of whom you see, and others who are behind the scenes to bring worship service to you each week. The gift of music today is from our fabulous members of South Church Folk, if you haven't already guessed. And the time of all ages will be offered by Jen Del Deo, our Director of Children and Family Ministries. Following that, children are invited to participate in our youth services downstairs. And if you would like to socialize after the service, we'll be having fellowship time downstairs with coffee, tea, and assorted snacks. Jen?
Good morning. Good morning. A few announcements today. First, the Fellowship Associates are hosting the Spring Journey to Membership class on 3 Sundays, March 5th, March 12th, and March 19th. This is a great chance to explore your own spiritual journey, to learn more about South Church and Unitarian Universalism. For more information and to get signed up, contact the FAs at fellowship@southchurch-uu.org or see Ginny Cease, who is back there with her hand up. Also, this coming Saturday evening in the Parish Hall, the South Church Coffee House returns. Singers, musicians, and poets are invited to come share your gifts. To get signed up, contact Mary Bannock, who I saw over there, at mbannock, BANACH, @unh.edu. And on March 26th, the Pocket Garden Tour will be hosting volunteer signups at 9 a.m. before worship. We are in need of all kinds of volunteers, garden hosts, ticket sales, and will call, after-party helpers, and more. If you would like to sign up but aren't able to make it on the 26th, please contact Robin Schnell. Is Robin here? We'll contact her, and her info is in the order of service. Finally, Tuesday night choir is back. This coming Tuesday, February 28th, right here in the sanctuary from 7 to 8:30 p.m. It will run 5 of the next 6 Tuesdays leading up to Easter Sunday, April 9th. Choir is open to all levels of singing and will be preparing songs for the coming spring season. For those interested in learning more, please reach out to Johnny at music@southchurch-uu.org. And we have one more announcement from Reverend Ellen.
Thank you. Good morning. I want to touch on the dismaying vandalism that happened in Portsmouth this week. You may have seen the email that went out about that. If you haven't, I encourage you to take a look at it. And I wanted to lift up the event that happened on Friday, which was Love Blooms. I swear that half the people I saw carrying flowers to the impacted businesses were South Church people. So it was really good to be out there with those of you who were able to make it. But I mostly wanted to let you know about another event happening at 3:30 today at Temple Israel, where they'll be holding a prayer circle for all of us to attend to respond with love to these acts of hate. So I hope you'll consider coming to that.
as we light the chalice this morning, I invite you to consider the gift of light. See, light fills the darkness, and the flames of our chalice adds a dance of life to all that can now be seen that once was darkened. With the world illuminated, I encourage you to think, what is it before us? What is there to reach out to? Where are you called to? And where are you asked and inspired to bring your own light? Almost forgot, I'm supposed to stay up here. See, we all make mistakes. I invite everyone to join us in the reading of our mission statement. At South Church, we nurture spiritual growth through worship, learning, and community. We celebrate the worth and dignity of all people, and we inspire one another to act on our faith in the larger community. Thank you. Those words, those last words, to act on our faith in the larger community. That's much of what we do in acts of love and service. And thinking about this week, I could not help but be reminded of my early 20s, returning to the world, or entering into the world after college and finding myself really quite alone. It was an interesting time. I was get up in the morning, I'd go to work, I'd go home in the evening, and just rinse, repeat, and do again. What I had failed to realize was that all of my previous part of my life, there were institutions of service that brought me forward, that called out and were there in service to my needs, whether it was as a child in school, even going off to college. One of the key aspects of that is to have all these places that say, come join us, let's help make sure you participate in the larger world. And I hadn't realized that was actually something I needed to take ownership of. No one actually gave me that little cue. But slowly, over years, I started to find things of service. At one point, I realized almost like a dating site back in the early 90s was this listing to encourage young singles to spend 3 hours volunteering here, spend 3 hours volunteering there. And it became a place to find something of interest and start to build community. And then again, a few years ago, as we all came out of COVID and looking around and realizing how sparse my own sense of community and connection to the larger world was, I was called forth to do so again. I took up more service here. I found acts of community service to do with Seacoast Outright, which has become a deep passion of mine. But in all of those, in part it was an act of service. It was an act of trying to give love to the world. But every piece of it turned out to be much more than that. It was an act of love towards myself. It was an act of connecting with others, not only in shared activity, but shared spirit and shared belief. And through that, we've now bonded into a tight family, one that calls out to even more to join us and to share words of love, kindness, and consideration to the rest of the world. So may we find that in our own hearts today as we continue to move forward as a community within South Church. And with that, I encourage those to stand as you wish or may able and join us for hymn number 6, Just As Long As I Have Breath.
If they ask
Okay, it's time for a story. So I'd like to invite all the kids and anybody else who would like to hear it, come closer. So my friend Christine told me a story the other day. And Christine works in the office out at South Church, and I wish she could be here to tell you the story herself because she is a lovely, loving, wonderful person. And I bet she's actually watching right now. So if you want to stand up, go ahead. These people up here, stand up. And so that's Alice back there at the computer. Hi, Alice. But if you look above Alice, there's a camera, and wave to that camera because Christine's probably watching us right now. Hi, Christine. Right above Alice's head, there's a red light. Okay. So this is the story that Christine told me. Apparently, it's a story that has gone around on social media, so some people may have heard it already. But it's a story about a teacher at a school who brought balloons to school one day. And the teacher gave each kid at the school a balloon and told them to blow it up. So each kid blew up a balloon, and then the teacher said to write their own name on the balloon. So every kid has a blown up balloon with their name on it. And then they put them all in one room, and the teacher mixed them all up. And then she set a timer, and she said, okay, go find your balloon. And so all the kids went, and they tried to find their balloon, but there were so many balloons and so many kids, and the time ran out quickly, and nobody found their own balloon. And then the teacher said, okay, this time, just pick up the balloon closest to you and give it to the person whose name is on it. And that worked so well, and in no time, everybody had their own balloon. And the moral of that story was if you are looking for your own happiness, it's going to be really hard to find it if you're just out seeking your own happiness. But if you are trying to help others, you will find your own happiness pretty easily. And I think that moral could even get stretched to include a lot of other things. And I thought of one tiny example here. And I'm not saying that anybody here does this. But if somebody were coming just for the cookies at social hour, I don't think anybody does this, but if you just came to church because you wanted the cookies, I mean, the table down there has delicious snacks on it, right? But if you just came for the cookies, you'd show up, you'd have some delicious cookies, and your belly might feel pretty good. An hour later, at least this is what happens to me. The sugar wears off, get a little grouchy. It doesn't last very long, that happiness from those cookies. But what if I brought cookies to share with everyone? What if I brought cookies and put them on that table, and then I would get to see people eating those cookies and the joy that they're getting from those cookies. And then I could have cookies too, but that joy from sharing those cookies that I brought would last a lot longer. My bucket would be full for a lot longer and in a different way than if I just showed up for the cookies. So let's go downstairs and make some cookies, and we'll put some on the table downstairs, and we'll send some to Seacoast Fridge. But we'll notice during social hour what happens if somebody eats those cookies. We'll pay attention, and we'll notice how we feel about that. So let's go make some cookies.
We now take a moment to give thanks in other ways. in this case, by helping support the service, the work, and the community of South Church and the larger community in which we work with. So we ask to take up an offering. And today, our collection throughout the month of February is being shared with the Black Heritage Trail of New Hampshire in honor of Black History Month. The Black Heritage Trail of New Hampshire promotes awareness and appreciation of African American history and life in order to build more inclusive communities today. They offer tea talks, exhibitions, curricula, and educational programs that can change the way we understand human dignity when free of historical stereotypes. We now take up this morning's offering. Thank you.
Oh, we give thanks
Oh, we give thanks
for this precious day.
for this precious day.
We're all gathered here, and those far away. For this time we share, with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
Just want to take a moment to thank South Church folk. Our music director couldn't be here this morning, and so they are just jumping in and helping us with every piece of music today. So I'd like to, for our time of prayer and meditation, begin by inviting us to take a conscious breath. To experience a pause. Let stillness surround us for a moment. In that stillness, I want to share with you two things. One is that I went to visit Dave Drucker in the hospital this week. He has COVID. They're taking good care of him, but I know he would appreciate your thoughts and your prayers while he's there, and has been appreciating the thoughts and prayers that people have been sending to him. And the second is that heart-wrenching vandalism that happened in Portsmouth. I've been told it's been designated as a hate crime. In that email I mentioned earlier, Kirsten shared a Martin Luther King quote that when hate is loud, love must be louder. With those two thoughts in mind, I invite you to pray with me or meditate with me on these words. Spirit of love and life, that brings us together and opens our hearts to life's beauty and life's challenges. Let us hold in our hearts all those who are struggling with illness or with setbacks or with losses or with hate. This week we witnessed some lost soul pulling threads of that hate from beneath the surface where it has always been lurking. And so now we see it, visible, twisted, and ugly. Its caustic imprint lands again and again on our Jewish, Black, brown, queer beloveds. Anti-Semitism, ancient and chilling. Racism's toxicity. Homophobia's twisted perspective. Hate takes so many forms, all of them corrosive, any of them deadly. Is it one lost soul or culture that creates this? A culture that pretends things are fine or avoids conversations that could heal. Martin Luther King said that when hate is loud, love must be louder. And for love to be loud, let us connect with it now. A love that is honest and brave. A love that turns toward this not a way. A love that requires time and action and money and listening and learning and our commitment. Witnessing hurt to be part of the healing. Hate may be loud, but love can be louder. And this week, love responded with words and with flowers. And later today, love responds with a circle of prayer. May we hear the call. May we respond to all that is unjust, that's not right, that's hurting us and hurting others. May we do what we can to help heal the world and ourselves, starting here, starting now, always with this moment, starting with today. In this heart-based space, I invite you to honor your joys and of candles, of your heart. If you would like to participate, you can come forward and light a candle as music begins. And please remember, if you are going through a difficult time, I am in the pew and email me or them after the service. We are here for you to light a candle for a joy or a sorrow that is in you today. Amen. When I arrived here at South Church back in August, one of the first teams I met with was the Shared Ministry team, the group that supports the 6 core associate groups at South Church. They had just been through a difficult but eye-opening process around their teamwork the previous spring, and their enthusiasm, and excitement about their learnings was palpable. What neither I nor they knew at the time, though, is that they were discovering insights that could be revolutionary, not only for their own work, but for the work of their shared ministry, your shared ministry. As their recruitment time rolled around and I had an opening on the worship calendar, I wanted to offer this group a chance to share their learnings and experiences in a worship service. Because what I was seeing among them felt like a little bit of magic. And I wanted to give them a chance to share some of that magic with all of you.
As you've heard over the previous weeks, this is the time of year when the different associate groups get up and give a testimonial and the membership is open. And as Reverend Ellen just mentioned, it's usually called a time of recruitment. But we want to toss out that term. We don't want to recruit you to anything. Rather, we'd like to extend an invitation to you to join the ministry of this beloved church. For each of these groups is truly part of the ministry. Each associate program represents a piece of our ministers' combined portfolios. And to quote Eric Wickstrom in his book, Serving with Grace, the word minister itself, both etymologically and theologically, means one who serves. And we'd like to suggest that being part of the church's ministry not only serves the church and our community, but is also one of the best spiritual practices that each of us could find. One of the best ways for us to grow our ties with the community, to learn about ourselves, and to grow our souls. In these groups, we work toward goals that are much bigger than ourselves, and we do so with a group of people who share our UU values and will hold us to account when we don't live up to them. I personally know this is true because I was recently gently reminded of my UU values. The service we are inviting you to participate in will be very rewarding in many ways. And like anything else that is worthwhile, it's bound to be frustrating at times and require that we dig deeper into ourselves to work fruitfully with the other members of our team. As we do this work, we find ourselves building a beloved community the best way possible, one person at a time. And now, Marty.
Oh, this is already on. The red light's there. So, good morning. My name is Marty Waldron, and I'm one of the shared ministry team. Last week, Kirsten Hunter used the term congregational polity to describe the role of the congregation in determining its mission and whether or not the congregation acted on its mission. I thought, are you kidding me? I was raised a Catholic, and I was quite used to being told what was right and what was wrong, what to believe and what not to believe, who was welcomed and who was not. We certainly didn't get to vote on things like our mission and how we would organize ourselves to achieve that mission. Congregational polity. I had to look it up because I'm new to Unitarian Universalism. And the UUA site by Sue Phillips provided a definition. Polity is the beliefs, doctrines, and structures that hold local churches together. It is the way that people choose to organize themselves around their collective purpose. We, members of this congregation, we have a shared mission. We have organized ourselves into a board, associate groups, and committees to achieve this mission. In 2017, I joined South Church and Unitarian Universalism. I felt welcomed. I felt as though my spiritual needs could be met here. I lent my hands to practical work, greeting at the door, helping out at social hour. I joined fellowship associates. I felt that I belonged and I was comfortable. I waited for spiritual growth to come to me. In my comfort, in savoring that sense of belonging, it took me a while to remember that this was my spiritual journey and that I had to work at this. Yet, outside my comfort zone, working with others in service to our collective purpose, there is an opportunity for spiritual growth. I joined the shared ministry team because I saw how important associate programs were when we had no settled minister. Throughout the time, our congregation still needed ministry, still needed worship. We needed the volunteer service of associate group members and members of the congregation to fulfill the mission of South Church and to tend to the needs of the congregation. Pushing beyond what is comfortable. I can tell you that standing in this pulpit, addressing this congregation is not on my top 10 list of highly preferred activities. By pushing beyond what is comfortable, I found opportunities for spiritual growth by working with others to achieve our mission. Through this work, this service, and these relationships, I am challenged to reflect upon my actions and my inaction, my role in conflict, my conception of what should or should not be done to achieve our mission. I am able to learn from others. I am supported by and able to support others in the work that we do together. This shared work provides an opportunity to turn the words of our mission statement into action through service and provides an opportunity for spiritual growth. This is why shared ministry extends to you an invitation for spiritual growth and not a recruitment pitch. You are the perfect person to do this work. You are the perfect person to help us achieve our collective purpose.
Good morning. My name is Laura Montville, and I'm also on the shared ministry team. I've been a member of South Church for about 13 years. I wanted to share a bit about my own experience over the past 3+ years as I've been on the shared ministry team. My story is mostly personal. Some of you may know that I have experienced a lot of loss over the past 3 years. My mom passed away recently after having suffered a stroke 3 years ago, for which I was the main caregiver. My dad passed away from COVID, my brother from another dreaded disease, and we lost our beloved dog Bella last May. Then, to add more to the stress to life, my husband, who is alive and well, suffered a heart attack last summer. Why am I sharing all of this with you? Because I wanted to share that things don't have to necessarily be in order to be able to participate here at South Church. In fact, there were so many times that I wondered if I should step back in my position as a lay leader, or I knew that I wasn't doing something perfectly or even well, and that sometimes it was incredibly difficult just to show up and get to a meeting as my fellow teammates witnessed. And while I felt I was working so hard to give, I was indeed the one receiving in a way that ultimately just filled my soul. I have been the recipient of so much love, generosity, warmth, and understanding through my work on shared ministry. My heart is full. And even more surprising, this all occurred while shared ministry was experiencing the impact of COVID and having trouble, I'll say the word, recruiting, as we called it then. And yet, through patience and examining our own intentions, an unimaginable trust grew from our shared ministry team. Reverend Ellen said it so well when she said magic. We have truly evolved, and how lucky for me to be on a team of people that has experienced this kind of growth, and how lucky for all of us, because we aren't recruiting anymore. There's a theme here. We are truly interested in matching your passion to the work at hand, because we know that's really the only way that any of us can deeply and meaningfully experience what I've had the privilege to experience. As difficult as my life was and the work was, it was a deeply meaningful and fulfilling experience. In closing, I'd like to quote from Wickstrom's Serving with Grace. It might seem easier to separate your prayer time from your productive time, your spirituality from the rest of your life, but it doesn't work like that. All the great spiritual traditions teach that life is ultimately one, that there is no separation possible, and that this work can truly feed your soul. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Martha Cunningham. I have a confession to make. Up until recently, the concept of experiencing volunteer church work and spiritual practice as the same thing was a foreign idea to me. Volunteer work means work, meetings, more work, even some disagreements sometimes. It also means a lot of good stuff, which Marty and Laura and Alice have already articulated. But volunteer work and spiritual practice, I actually have a second confession. What is a spiritual practice anyway? The term has always been a bit nebulous to me. Attend church, check. Maybe even join a committee, check. But a deeper understanding of spiritual practice eluded me. I was a sort of person who thought that spiritual practices were meant to comfort, to soothe. Yoga and meditation come to mind. But my experience on the shared ministry team this past year has begun to illuminate for me the power of spiritual practice when things aren't so relaxed, aren't so comfortable, not going so well. My story at first glance is rather ordinary. Last spring at a shared ministry meeting where we were feeling the crunch of time and our invitation to join associate programs was not getting many positive replies, I was very focused on checking off the items on our agenda. You might already be able to tell I like checking off items. But as a result, I missed the cue that one of our members was upset about something. My focus on productivity came at the expense of relationship. Thanks to the person who felt unheard and had the courage to say so, I had the opportunity to pause, to examine what was most important. It certainly was not the agenda. Often meetings, be they church-related or other-related, demonstrate differences of opinion, different values, sometimes even heated emotion that deepen conflict. I hate conflict. I really want to run in the opposite direction. But somehow this experience invited me to open to what the conflict had to teach me, to look at it from the principle of right relations, to learn something I was not aware of about myself, to do my inner work. This experience has taught me something that I strongly believe now, and that is that our volunteer church work is just the place to practice our spiritual practice. To paraphrase Ren Belevant's Grace and Practice Makes Possible, perhaps we can choose to take the risk to bring our whole vulnerable selves to our spiritual work, to believe that tending to our relationships, tending to our team, tending to our trust in each other is our work, every bit as much as the items on our monthly agenda. Can you imagine how this kind of work might reshape our relationships, our lives, and the lives around us? I can imagine it, and I hope to find the courage to practice this kind of spiritual practice.
As you've heard, life's challenges are everywhere. They could be in our homes, in our schools, in our workplaces, and right here in our churches. Risk, loss, grief, and conflict are everywhere, much as we might wish they were not. But also, everywhere is the possibility for growth, for hope, for connection, for trust, for building trust with ourselves and with each other. Everywhere is the opportunity to face and grow from the things we find hard. And what I heard in these shares is that doing so with others can be mission or purpose fulfilling, soul nourishing, courage inspiring. And there's the bigger lesson, something like there is no growth without stretch. That being part of a team feels good. And that anything we're involved in can teach us, especially if we see it. To Alice, or moved, or
We invite you to take a good look at each of the associate programs, as well as the other committees and work groups at the church, whether it's the ABC committee that or the kitchen crew that Kevin has talked about, or the RE program for our kids. Which ones stir you? Yes, I'd love to be part of that. Because we recognize that, like any invitation, you may not be able to accept at this time, this year. And we respect that. That is often called your sacred no. Respond with a joyful yes. Take a minute to fill out the green. There's a basket in the back as you go out that you can draw members in each of these groups that are eager to welcome new folks into their team. If you're someone who enjoys meeting people and finding ways to build community, then maybe the fellowship associates are for you. Or perhaps you'd like to delve deeper into our UU faith and learn more about the UUA and what other UUA congregations UU doing. The Learning Associates are doing just like find out more about the Social Justice Associates and the work they're doing. The Pastoral Associates, working closely with Reverend Ellen, offer comfort and care and organize our heart. A richness. We'd love to hear your stories, too. There's room in these are fine. It's not a commitment on your part, but these different teams. Thank you so much.
I was going to come up and add to the idea of engagement and say something along the lines of, you know, what that you're most scared of might be a place to lean into, but all this light, I don't think we'll be able to extinguish the chalice today. In fact, we won't be extinguishing it. We'll be carrying it forward. So while the chalice is extinguished here, it's not the light of truth that disappears. It's not the spirit inside of you that goes away. But in fact, the warmth of community, the commitment that comes from participation, and the fire of joy are together again.
Life challenges are everywhere. And the option to grow from those challenges, our soul, toward what nourishes our souls and toward our own courage as we leave this sacred time and go out into our day. May we remember that life is full of gifts for us and that we are full of gifts for this world. May we take up the invitation to share those gifts. Light shine. Amen.
always looking for new folk members, too.